33 countries in Africa border the ocean and form part of its vast coastline, which is just under 19,000 miles long. 40% of Africa's population live by the ocean, depending on the coastal and marine ecosystems and the resources they provide to make a living. These resources include food, catching fish to eat, as well as mangrove wood and sand, which can be used for building. The sea itself provides a means of transport as people travel by boat from one place to another. Tourists are also attracted to coastal areas because of beautiful beaches and the variety of marine life. This generates a valuable income for the local people. But the combination of a huge growth in coastal populations, development in fishing equipment, and pressure from international fishermen has put coastal resources under threat. Along the coast, the numbers of fish are declining due to overfishing and use of destructive fishing methods. Corals are being trawled and the stone used for construction. Coastal forests and mangroves are also being destroyed as people don't replace the trees that they've chopped down. Pollution is also a huge problem, with oil, plastic and sewage being dumped into the sea. As the coastal environment provides us with so many things, we have to learn to manage it sustainably. This means learning to use marine resources like plants and animals in a way which provides for our needs now, as well as in the future. In this film, we'll concentrate on small coastal communities and see how fishermen are adapting their fishing practices to preserve their local environment. Off the coast of Tanzania lies Mafia Island Marine Park. Within the warm waters surrounding the island are a huge range of tropical habitats, including coral reefs and mangroves. Turtles can also be found nesting here. But before the marine park was established, the traditional methods of dynamite and seine net fishing were causing huge damage to the sea. With the help of WWF, the marine park has been working with local fishermen to introduce less destructive methods of fishing and find alternative sources of income. The aim is to reduce the damage to the reefs and mangroves and encourage people to manage the marine environment more sustainably. Dynamite fishing is the most destructive form of fishing. Fishermen throw dynamite into the sea, which blows up underwater. This destroys the coral and stuns the fish so that they float up to the surface and are easy to catch.
Dynamite is very bad to be used in fishing because when you explode at a corals or at a sea bottom, the place will remain 5 years. More than 5 years will be not productive. So for corals, if you blasted corals, the corals will die and it will take more than 5 years to start again. Therefore, if corals is the center for fish production, is the center for fish to stay, is the center for fish to accumulate. So it means you destroy the whole system of fish and fishing. Therefore, if you use dynamite, it means you kill yourself. So, and also, dynamite is dangerous to the fisher.
Local fisherman Mwanya Selemani explains what happened to him when he practiced dynamite fishing.
You go out into the sea, you take the dynamite, you take a tin, and you put the dynamite in the tin. You put a wick in it, and then you light it, and then you have to throw it out into the sea. And if you are late throwing it out, then it explodes. And when it explodes, then you get hurt. When people like me were using this dynamite method of fishing, the fish left this area and the place was poisoned. In the marine park, there shouldn't be this type of fishing. I try to explain to my brothers that we should fish in a good way. So now, I tell people not to practice dynamite fishing. And if I see them doing it, I tell them that it's illegal. We have to stop throwing these bombs into the sea. If we don't, future generations won't reap the benefits from the sea that we have had.
Using seine nets is another destructive method of fishing. These nets have a very small mesh size, with holes that are less than 2 inches wide. This means that all fish are caught, both big and small, as it's not selective. When the fishermen pull the seine nets in, the holes close together, so nothing can escape. The nets are dragged along the bottom of the sea floor, destroying both the coral and the sea bottom, which are both breeding grounds for fish. There's also a lot of waste, as most of the fish caught are too small to sell. Seine nets are very expensive, often owned by wealthy people who employ fishermen to use their nets, but take all the profits.
To have a unit of a fishing unit for it, you need a lot of money. That's why rich people own a lot of unsustainable fishing units, and the community, the little community which went for fishing, is just a casual labor to that person. So this unsustainable practice of fishing cause a community to have nothing. Instead of having their fishing vessel, of having their gears, they just being rebels to somebody who have capital.
Masoud Kipanga from the Marine Park believes that these harmful and unsustainable fishing practices must stop, and explains why.
These unsustainable fishing gears, they destroy the environment. And if they destroy the environment, so the production of fish is going down. If the corals area have been destroyed, if the mangroves are being destroyed, if the sea bottom is being destroyed, there is no production of fish. But if we start using sustainable fishing gears, the corals will grow up, the mangrove will grow up, and the sea bottom will remain safe for fish to breed and feed. So I think the production of fish will go up. And if the production will go up and the fishing is sustainable, then I think the income or the amount of fish will increase.
Together with WWF, the Marine Park has introduced new fishing methods to the local fishermen. One of these is the use of fence traps. Fences are erected from the beach into the sea so that as the tide goes out, only the large fish get caught in the corner trap. The little fish escape through gaps in the fence. The fishermen can remove other animals like turtles and fish which are poisonous to eat, so the trap is selective. Fisherman Bakari Nahoda has already seen the benefits of fence traps.
There are many benefits of fence trapping. The first is that we catch big fish, which is good. And the second is that there is a wide variety in the type of fish we catch.
Kama wanapita kasa, alafu kolekole, cha, changu, na samaki aina kalambisi.
Unlike seine net fishing, fence traps are locally and communally owned, so all the profits made from selling the fish go directly to the fishermen and their families, and not to rich businessmen from other areas.
This type of fishing is mostly owned by 1 or 2 or 3 peoples. The income generated by this type of fishing is just divided equally to all those people who own this. Therefore, if you compare in income, this one a fisher who fish with this type of fishing, his income is higher compared to seine net fisher. For ecological view, this system is better because this is sustainable. Fisher just come and set his gears here, and therefore it has no any other effect. You don't use bait, you don't use anything. So you just wait for fish to come here freely and enter, and then you catch. But for seine net, you just destroy the environment of the sea ground, you destroy corals, you destroy everything which is being entangled by the net. Therefore, that one is unsustainable, it's destructive. This one is sustainable, non-destructive to anything.
Another sustainable fishing practice is the use of gill nets. Gill nets are better than seine nets because their holes are larger, over 2.5 inches wide. The nets are set in the water so they only catch bigger fish and are not dragged along the seabed. As the gill nets are cheap to buy, each fisherman can afford his own net. One disadvantage of the gill nets is that they can catch turtles, which will drown if they're not spotted. So the best way to use the nets is to trawl them in deeper water.
If you use gill nets or sustainable fishing gear of gill nets, this one is good because you just set your net at the sea. Then you leave it. To have a unit of gill net is very cheap. Even a common fisherman can own 2 to 3 to 4 pieces of gill nets.
Fisherman Hassani Nahoda used to use seine nets, but now uses gill nets instead.
Using gill nets means that the big fish swim into the nets by themselves. This way, you don't spoil the environment as you do with other fishing methods, which catch coral, stones, seaweed, and other small creatures. With gill nets, you put them in at night and pull them out in the morning, nice and easily. So you get fish, but you don't spoil the environment. This is a good way of fishing, and many of us fishermen have realized this. If you ruin the environment, the next generations won't see it. We are already spoiling it, so we need to start conserving it now. When WWF came to tell us why we should stop using seine nets, we couldn't disagree.
In addition, WWF have introduced a microcredit scheme on Mafia Island to provide alternative sources of income for former fishermen. Microcredit is a system whereby people are given a small loan to start a new business. Then they repay the loan through their new income. The idea behind the scheme is to take pressure off fish supplies by decreasing the number of fishermen going out to catch fish. The regularity of alternative incomes also means that the fishermen and their families have better financial stability. Former fishermen and now business partners Mohammed Hassani and Kichungu Rajabu explain how they put down their nets in favor of running a fuel station. Here, islanders can buy kerosene for lamps and petrol for their cars. This business has changed their lives, as Mohammed explains.
The fact that there are less fish here now is a big problem. If you consider the way we were fishing, we blasted the fish out of their homes, and so they left to go to better places. Just like people, in the daytime they walk around, but at night they go into their houses. With fish, it's the same. If you destroy their homes, they have nowhere to live, so they move on. I quit fishing because I agree with the people who want to conserve the marine park. Fishing with seine nets wasn't good because we were killing the other small creatures that aren't fish and also destroying the environment. And so I agreed to stop fishing to save marine life for the future. And I started this new job instead.
Sasa toka huku njoo huku mimi nitakupa mradi. Kwa hiyo ina maana kwamba nimekubaliana kwa sababu kule wananitoa katika kazi na wameniingiza sehemu ya kazi.
The Mafia Island community has seen many changes both to its people's lives and to the coastal environment. High levels of poverty have been reduced through the introduction of alternative jobs. Fishermen are learning how to fish sustainably thanks to new types of net. Monitoring the marine wildlife has ensured its survival both above and below the sea, thus increasing the potential for visitors to the island. The community hopes that their success can provide a role model for other coastal communities in Africa.